Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker. This is my third YouTube video, and I've decided to talk about something a little bit different tonight. I know I'm trying to talk about my writing and the books that I'm working on, and this past week I've been kind of struggling with my depression. So there you have it. I have depression and anxiety and panic attacks, and I struggle with being motivated to do things. And so I thought tonight that I would maybe talk about some of the emotional things that I have to deal with, and maybe some future videos I'll talk about things that I can do to kind of help me work through some of those things. And sometimes I just don't always apply those things. But tonight I wanted to talk about just feelings and thoughts, because I took a class, an online Facebook thing a friend invited me to a couple weeks ago, and it was just a couple weeks class, 10 days, 5 days one week, 5 days the next week, talking about self-esteem and how if you feel better about yourself, good about yourself, how you can become more successful and achieve your dreams and overcome struggles and trials and be motivated. So of course I was interested, and the first week there was a lot of good things in there that were very helpful, that just kind of rang true with me. And the second week there was a lot of talk about thoughts, and thoughts creating feelings, and feelings creating actions. And I struggled with that. I disagreed with that, but I didn't feel like my point of view was heard. And then last night I was surfing Facebook and ran across some Facebook ad talking about motivation and becoming successful. So of course I click on that, and again there's this idea that thoughts create feelings and feelings create actions. And it bothered me. So I decided that tonight I would like to share my thoughts on that, and maybe it bothers some other people, or maybe it will help some of you out there that are watching this that also struggle with depression and anxiety and other such things. But to me, it doesn't ring true that thoughts create feelings. I think thoughts can enhance feelings, can make them better or worse, can help dissipate you when you're upset, or can increase your anxiety when you're already freaking out. But I don't think that thoughts create the anxiety, because honestly, I don't think that I was, wanting to wake up and having a panic attack because I heard some noise in my kitchen at some point, or I got an email from someone I hadn't heard from in a long time, bad relationship, and I start panicking, heart palpitations, tight muscles, freaking out. And I can't think clearly when I'm like that. It's like I just freeze up. So I'm like, I have no idea what thought triggered that. I would love to not think that thought. I would love to just say some thought in my head to make that go away. That would be awesome. But it doesn't work that way. And the more I thought about it, I was thinking, little kids, when you're teaching little kids about emotions and feelings, they'll start getting upset about something. You're like, oh, what are you upset about? Or they smile and like, oh, you like that. And it's like you give them a word saying, are you angry? Are you mad? Are you happy? Are you frustrated? Are you confused? Because they're having an emotion. They're having a feeling. So the feeling obviously came before they even knew what it was. So how did a thought create the feeling? And that just doesn't make sense to me. Or, if it looks cold outside, you think, oh, it's cold, but you're not shivering because it's cold outside, not inside. You walk outside, oh, maybe it's not as cold as you thought it was. You're like, oh my gosh, that's so cold, because your body's shivering. Or you touch something that's hot, and you jerk your hand away, and you're like, okay, that was hot. But that was hot thought came after you burnt yourself, not before you did it, So, thoughts can motivate us to do things. I'm not saying they don't, and I'm all for positive affirmations and positive attitudes, because that can help motivate to do things, that can help to work through or work past things. But I'm like, I can have a positive attitude, I can be having a great day, and I still feel depressed. I still struggle with feeling motivated to want to do anything. And there's nothing, I can think about my day, I can make a gratitude list, and there's nothing in particular that's creating my depression that I'm aware of. And I know sometimes when I journal or work through stuff, I'll find some kind of underlying thought like I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong with me, or this is bad, I shouldn't feel this way. But I realize that those are thoughts that I've attached to my emotions, but they're not necessarily true. And they're not necessarily what created the emotion in the first place. It's just the thought that I attached to it, or the belief that I attached to the emotion. And those beliefs can enhance the depression. The negative thoughts and feelings can enhance whatever mood that you're in. But, if you're in a good mood and you're having a great day and, somebody does something, you just laugh and walk away. And other times, like, oh, I'm not in a good mood and something triggers it, But there's triggers sometimes for, things will trigger you to remember something. Ooh, a good memory of something. And then you feel good because that triggers an emotion that went with the memory. I think our emotions are stored in our nervous system just like our memories are stored in our brain. And so there's a connection there. I'm not saying there isn't. I sometimes think that people judge those of us that are depressed or that have anxiety, and they think, you should just be able to positive thoughts and think through this, or, think your way out of it. Think positive. Abraham Lincoln said, most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. And I'm like, sure, I can be happy. Look at me, I'm smiling in this video, but I am extremely anxious and very nervous. But it doesn't mean that I can't work through that feeling or that emotion. Obviously, my thoughts and a lot of praying and things like that are helping me to do this video despite how I feel. So I know that feelings aren't facts and feelings don't have to dictate my life. But sometimes when I am in a state of depression, my depression takes over, my emotions take over, and it doesn't matter all the motivating thoughts or comments or things. It's not something I can just think my way out of. It's not something I can just fix. And I'm certainly not thinking I want to wake up and be depressed and not function today, and most of the time when I'm in a state of depression, I'm like, okay, I need to get up and do something. I have my list of things that will make me feel better or that can help me function. And then I was like, I'm going to reach out and do that. Nope, that's just not going to happen today. Sorry. And it sucks. And it's hard, and it's an ongoing battle. But lots of things cause depression. I mean, a hormonal imbalance, a change in the weather, a vitamin deficiency, a chemical imbalance. And depression is even a stage of grief. When you're going through grief, depression is one of the stages of grief. So lots of things can cause that. And a lot of those things are environmental or, like I said, hormonal or chemical imbalance. And that's not something that I can think my way out of. I can't just have some positive thought and suddenly my vitamin deficiency is gone, or suddenly my hormonal imbalance is fixed, or whatever the case may be. A loved one passes away and I'm sad, and I'm just going to have a happy thought and I'm not going to be sad that this person is no longer in my life. It doesn't work that way. I mean, we can bury our emotions, we can choose not to feel our emotions, but I find that when I do that, they boil up, they pile up, and then I get to the point where they get so heavy, and it's exhausting to carry around all of that emotion, and that just adds to the tired and the depression and the emotional problems. And it helps to share them, to feel them, to let them go. And some of them are uncomfortable. And I realized that there's a lot of emotions that people think are good or bad. Like it's, the old stigmatism, it's bad to cry. And yet science now says it's good to cry. It can actually be therapeutic and healthy. And I still hate crying. So even though there are times when I feel like crying, I'm like, what can I do to avoid feeling that emotion? Because I don't want to deal with that emotion, which often leads to my procrastinating and not doing things. But sometimes it's good, it's healthy, it's necessary. And I mean, being happy, everybody's like, oh, everybody wants to be happy. That's a good emotion. But other emotions are okay too. I mean, even getting angry is okay, because getting angry means that you're standing up for yourself. Or getting angry, sometimes I get, what people call hangry, because I'm angry because I'm hungry, I'm just stressed and I've had a long day. I'm like, I would feel a whole lot better once I get something to eat, And little kids get that way. They get ornery and start whatever. And I do that with my kids. At least I'm like, okay, I tell my kids, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm overreacting. I realize I'm overreacting. It's just because I'm hungry. I have to stop and breathe, and I'm like, what is the underlying problem? Okay, I'm angry because I'm hungry. I'm angry because somebody didn't listen to me. Or in this case, I'm frustrated because I'm watching these videos, these people that are trying to, self-help things that are supposed to help you overcome your issues to, become successful and to be happy. And they're telling me that my thoughts can fix that. So if I have all these positive thoughts and positive affirmations, I can become successful. And I'm like, well, if I have positive thoughts and positive affirmations, then maybe I will be more willing to set some goals, and maybe I'll be willing to work through my, depression or my tired or whatever my fears, or my anxieties. Like, I have this goal to do these YouTube videos and to promote my writing and my books, and this is causing me anxiety. It makes me nervous, but I'm doing it in spite of how I feel. So in this case, I am not letting my feelings control that. Granted, it probably took me like 2 hours of avoiding doing this video, and then probably like 20 minutes of like praying and staring at this phone camera before I finally convinced myself that I can do this, because I still have anxiety. And all of that positive affirmations and things that I did to talk myself into doing this are great and helpful, but I'm still nervous. It didn't make the feeling of being nervous go away. And the feeling of relief that I will get when this is done, I will be looking forward to be perfectly honest. But again, I don't know. To me, I just don't feel like thoughts create feelings. And I think we have to remember that feelings aren't facts, and they don't have to run my life. But I do have to feel them. I have to acknowledge them, and I have to say, okay, this is how I'm feeling. And then it's like, well, why do I feel that way? And honestly, sometimes I don't know. I don't know why I'm confused. I don't know what I don't understand. I don't know why I'm depressed. There are days I'll roll out of bed and I'm depressed, or I have a migraine. I'm like, I don't understand. And then I go outside and I'm like, oh, it's cloudy. Oh, it's raining. Oh, the weather changed. Okay, because the weather, for whatever reason, my body is totally in tune with the weather. So I'm fast asleep. It was a great day that's sunny and everything else the day before. And then I wake up and all of a sudden I'm like, why do I feel like crap? Why do I not want to get out of bed? Why do I feel like I didn't sleep, or I just want to sleep all day long? And it's because the weather changed. I can't control that. I can decide to take the day off and just, let myself have a do-nothing day. I can decide to beat myself up and say a whole bunch of negative things because I'm not getting anything done for the day because of the weather. Or I can choose to try to push through it, work through it, and know that it's going to be a constant struggle all day to put a smile on my face and go to work and do what needs to be done, because I am fighting my depression. I am fighting my emotions that are connected to the weather that I have absolutely no control over. So I guess I just wanted to put that out there in case there's any other people that struggle or feel like they're not good enough, or that there's something wrong with them because positive affirmations don't always work, or because they can't just with sheer willpower overcome something like anxiety or depression, or they can't just control their emotions. They can stuff them. Everyone can stuff their emotions if they want to, but they stay with you. They build up inside of you, and then you explode at some random time. You have to deal with them. And silly little things can trigger it. A smile, a comment from somebody, revisiting a location where either you got your heart broken, or sometimes, it's a happy memory, but the person that you're remembering is no longer there. And then you feel sad when you visit that place because you're like, oh, I remember this. It was such a happy time. But then you feel sad because you miss that person. But it's like, you feel sad and they're like, why do I feel sad? I'm like, oh yeah, because I miss that person. And I don't think saying I miss somebody, like the thought, usually is an interpretation of the feelings. It's not the other way around. I don't think, oh, I'm sad, or I miss somebody and then I feel sad. I'm like, no, I feel sad, so my interpretation is I miss somebody. Or I feel super excited about something. And what am I, excited? And that's describing my emotions, When I get excited, I get like high-pitched voice and I just start talking really fast and I drive people around me crazy. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I just do that when I'm excited. And I was like, oh, I was excited? What am I excited about, Because I don't always think about what I'm feeling. I just sometimes respond to that. And I think part of changing, growing, whatever, is learning to recognize my emotions, to face what I'm feeling, and then decide how to respond to it. But I mean, sometimes, like when you touch something hot, you just automatically jerk your hand away. There's automatic reactions, and then you think, wow, that was hot. And so you can't always think your way out of some kind of emotional thing or issue, but you can't always talk to somebody about it. You can share it with someone else, someone that's safe, someone that's not going to make fun of you or tell you that you should just be able to get over it, or that it's all in your mind and it's just a joke, oh, it's all in your head. I'm like, yeah, well, it may all be in my head, but it's, it's still there. I'm still crazy. But it's nice to have someone that understands and that can help you walk through it or help you find your outlet. Like for me, my outlet is writing. Sometimes writing helps me to process, to put things in perspective, to figure out why I feel the way that I feel, or why I overreacted to something, or whatever it is, or even what I'm excited about or what I'm happy about or what's working in my life. Because sometimes I think I assign negativity to being depressed, or negativity to sadness, and positivity to being happy. And that's not really true, because emotions really aren't good or bad, positive or negative. It's our thoughts that can be positive or negative. It's the thoughts that we assign to the emotions that make them good or bad. But emotions are there to tell us that there's something, to tell us how we feel. And sometimes to tell us we need to act on something. Like, hey, I really enjoy this. This feels really good. Let's do this again. Let's repeat this. It's part of like having experiences in life. Or that was really uncomfortable. Let's not do that again. Or this is uncomfortable. I'm going to leave this situation because I don't like how this feels. Our emotions are there to trigger us. And sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes they're just memories of past emotions, of similar situations from, the week before, a month before, when we were children, whatever the case may be. Sometimes they're illogical, like freaking out when you see a spider, or, some people are afraid of dogs. And for those of us that aren't, we're like, I don't understand, what's the fear? And it's like, I don't either, but it's like freaking out. And sometimes you can figure out what caused you to be afraid in the first place, what bad experience caused the emotions. But I think experiences can cause emotions too. But like I said, I'm not an expert on any of these things. I just was frustrated that I watched some videos and things and people telling me my thoughts can create my emotions and that creates my actions. And I was like, no, I can act in spite of my feelings, and I can do the opposite of what I'm feeling, like doing this video in spite of being nervous. But I don't think beforehand I want to be nervous this entire time. In fact, I'm thinking I want to be calm and I want to, sound professional, or, want to look pretty, all of those things that I'm thinking. And, but it doesn't change how I feel. And yeah, so I guess I felt that frustration and I wanted to share it, and maybe I'm hoping that other people have felt that frustration too, and now they know that they're not that you're not alone in those feelings. And, maybe that would bring up some awareness for some people to realize that, yes, there are struggles, but some things we can't just overcome, and mind over matter can be a huge thing, but it's not the only thing. And sometimes it takes more than that. Sometimes it takes medication or counseling or, reaching out to other people, exercise, journaling, lots of different things. And I don't have all of the answers, but if this is something you're interested in me sharing more about and things that I do, please comment below, like, subscribe, and I hope that this was informational and helpful. So thanks.